Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and I got some quickie news for fans and collectors of The Walking Dead. First up, the Funko Pop Mystery Mini Blind Box in Memoriam, no, in memory of, in Miranda rights, I don't know. These are the dead characters from The Walking Dead, going all the way back to Season 2, up to current date, Season 7. This is actually pretty exciting. Now, I know I gave up on blind bags because it's a trend that needs to die. So many collectors of these blind bags have so many duplicates, it's just ridiculous. I'm kind of hoping they would eventually cut the bull crap and start coming out with the collector's case version where you can buy it all at once and only all at once for the entire set. No duplicates. Here's all 24, the whole box, bada bing, bada boom. Maybe even give it the outside box a collector's look to it, I don't know. And then for the retail stores, do the blind boxes because, like I said, this is a trend that needs to die fast. I think it's garbage. Vote down below if you like the blind box trend or not. A blind bag over $3 is a ripoff. With that said, let's take a look. Now, first up, we got T-Dog in riot gear. He's looking pretty cool. Next up, we got Andrea with the handcuffs and Rick's gun. I do want to mention, I love that they look faded. I'm hoping this isn't just the image, though. I really want them to be faded. The black and white, it does work. You know, sometimes for the comic book characters, it works a little better because it's like they are ripped right from inside the comic book in a 3D model, you know, and I think it's pretty cool. I think the black and white can get played out pretty easily, though, especially since we're getting more and more. So I'm really hoping these are just faded and it's not just the image. Next up, we got Dale. Now, he's looking pretty cool, pretty plain, but he's cool enough to add. Here we have Deanna. I guess this would be Walker Deanna. Next to her, we have Denise with a bolt in her eye and a can of Orange Crush in her hand. Next to her, we got Living Sophia. Well, I don't know. She's alive but dead. She's paid in respects to being dead. I don't know. She's holding her doll, and I think this is really cool because it connects to something coming up, and I really wish they would have just put the damn figures together in this image, but hold on a second. Next up, in the middle to the left, we have Gareth, and it looks like he might be holding a gun, but I'm hoping he's holding his finger. Remember, he got his finger shot off? I'm hoping that's what it is. Next to him, we got Glenn, and I think this is disappointing. Glenn should have his eye popping out. Glenn should have more damage than this, but I do feel like they make these type of figures a little more family friendly, and I can't fault them for that because they looked cute, so I ended up starting to buy them for my daughter. My daughter doesn't watch the show. She knows I talk about the show and I love the show, so when she saw they had these cute figures of the show, it was kind of like a way for me and her to bond. We would buy them, open them up. What figures did we get? It wasn't until, like I said, we got so many Daryls, we just gave up. We said, no more, Funko. You either let us buy the whole set or we don't want to give you our money anymore. So I do feel like they tame back on some of the gore for these figures in particular. Next up, we got Jessie in the guts covered poncho. I love her stance because it connects with another figure. Next to her, we have Claimer Joe, and I think that is a cool figure. Next up, we have the Lizzie and her Lizzie / Freddy Krueger style striped shirt, the iconic striped shirt with blood on her hands. This is a cool figure that also connects to another figure in this group. We'll get to that in a second. Next to her, we have Lori with her baby bump, pregnant belly, and I think this is cool that Lori fans get a little figure. It might not be a 5-inch or a 7-inch, and hopefully one day we do get that. Speaking of which, though, real quick, I think it would be a great idea to release like a 5-inch or a 7-inch inside the mega box. Do a limited edition version because I don't believe there's that many fans that would buy this as opposed to a more popular character. So maybe they don't think it's worth it to put it in the retail market out on the shelves or put them on the pegs. So maybe they could do something like that, like the mega box. I know the mega box is comic only, but we will discuss that in the future. Next up, bottom of the row, all the way to the left, we have Merle, Walker Merle. Got a gunshot in his chest, and his stance is perfect. I love this guy. He looks cool. Next to him, we have Mika, and I think this is really cool that Mika has her blood wound from being killed by her sister. Her sister comes in this set. One of the more heartbreaking scenes in the world of The Walking Dead. I think it's great they included both of those. And this is Walker Sophia, and like I said before, I think this is awesome to pay respects to a character twice in this one set, because she was a part of one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the entire series, one of the most iconic and unforgettable scenes, and they pay respects to this dead character as she's alive with the doll that Daryl found that gave him hope again, and yada yada yada. And then we get the Walker Sophia, and it does look like there is a bite on her shoulder, and I think that is perfect and great attention to detail in this figure. Next to her, we have Bitch Nick with his bitch perm. He's pretty cool, and we got to give a little thank you to Funko for giving us Bitch Nick. Next to him, we got Shane, and I think fans are going to love having this style Shane. We've been begging McFarlane Toys for years to make us a 5-inch or a 7-inch, and I still am holding out hope we will get one. Who knows? Maybe we'll get one of him. Maybe we'll get a Lori sometime in the future. I don't know. Write to McFarlane Toys. Tell them to make them. We still will buy characters in the past. We will. I will buy multiples of Shane if he's articulated or if he's 7-inch and he's very well detailed. Definitely. That said, I'll buy a Claimer Joe too, Just throwing it out there. Next up, we have Sammy, and I love the stance. You have the worried look in his face, and I think they did a great job with the face on all of these pretty much, because it says a lot without using a lot of detail. I think it's great. You got a worried look, you got that iconic haircut, and then you have the guts covered poncho and his hand, and it looks like his hand is reaching for his mother, or he just let go of his mother's hand. And then when you look at her stance, they kind of go together. She's reaching out, she has worried eyes, her son's about to get eaten, he's saying, "Mom, Mom." Wait, no, he's not, because that was a fake ending. I don't know. He's actually crying, and he stopped walking. That was the real scene. Anyway, next to him, we have Abraham. Like I said, I think they're toning down some of the violence, but Abraham looks pretty good. He actually looks pretty similar to the first hit. His head looks more dented in than Glenn's, now that I'm thinking about it. But I think that's a must-have. The two biggest character deaths in the most recent season, I think they were must-haves to include in this set. This is a damn cool set. I like it. I would love to pick it all up, but only if we could pick it up in one shot without any doubles, because I'm anti-blind bag. I know, I'm a negative Nancy. Put your thoughts and opinions about blind bags down in that comment box. Should they make a collector's case for collectors to buy the whole case outright without any doubles? You let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Next up, we have pictures from behind the scenes as they are painting the new 7-inch Negan that's coming out this year. Now, we get a good look at some of the detail in the torso and not much else, but the detail is fantastic. But that's one thing McFarlane does almost perfectly with everything they release. When they do the clothes, the details, the folds, the waves, it's almost perfect all the time. There's never any complaints about the clothing and the detail there, When it comes to the articulation, we can see that he's going to have articulated elbows. Now, I'm hoping he has articulation in the elbows and the shoulders, just enough to give him some movement and stand a little bit different. I don't want and I don't care about articulation in the knees. Now, I would prefer articulated figures overall, but if you're not going to make them all the way articulated, don't even bother putting articulation in the knees, because it just takes away from the sculpt and you can't even use it. Abraham has articulation in the knees, but since there's no more articulation anywhere else in the lower half, you can't even use the articulation in the knees, so it doesn't do anything. We don't see much for the legs, we don't see much for the head. We do have this image here, and we know the detail, the the sculpt is going to be great with Negan. We can almost guarantee that. Most of the figures in the color tops have been fantastic when it came to the sculpt. The painting is what I'm worried about, because this is not going to be an easy figure. Jeffrey Dean Morgan has the black and the gray in his beard, and I see that being very tricky. And not only just being tricky for the 7-inch, but I'm hoping, since they're already making it like they did with the Rick, where they took the 7-inch Rick head and they just shrunk it down and made that head into the 5-inch Constable Rick. I am really hoping, we know it's gonna sell, so I'm hoping they shrink this down, give us a 5-inch well articulated Negan. I think that would be one of the best selling figures this year, both 5 and 7-inch. But one thing I'm afraid of is going to be the paint apps on the face. I think a 5-inch will be extremely difficult, and it might end up being very problematic as well to get that paint application right. We might see a whole ton of Negans on the pegs if you don't have that paint app right on his face, because the picky collectors, they won't go anywhere near it, you know? Keep in mind, the majority of these adult collectors, they're not kids playing with these things. They open them up, they put them on the shelf, sometimes they put them in plastic, you know, sometimes they put them in cases, and they put them out on display. That is why they're so picky with the paint apps and everything, because they're on display, oftentimes where family and friends can see them when they come into their house. So you don't want a figure on display that has a really shitty paint job on his face, you know what I mean? In the world of collectibles, I would love to hear all your thoughts and opinions. What do you think about this topic? Put all those thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.